Well, hello, folks. This is Larry here with Larry's Fountain Pens, and today my guest is going to be Troy LaPlante. Now, for those of you who don't know Troy LaPlante, he is a fellow pen reviewer and also a friend of mine. I had the opportunity to meet Troy and his family, a couple of years ago, Troy, was it?
It wasn't this last summer. It was the summer before. Yeah, because last summer was the big lockdown. We couldn't travel pretty much anywhere. It was the summer before we were able to make our way down to Fort Worth.
We had a blast. There was a lot of us, and we had a blast, and we will do it again soon, God willing, when Troy's available.
We're hoping to
come down to Texas. So now a little bit about Troy before he gets into all the questions that I've asked him about him in pens. You can get him, Troy. You can get in touch with Troy or watch his videos and support his channel at Troy.
Right here on my shirt, fountainpenfanatic.com is my URL. It'll take you right to my YouTube channel.
Don't forget that .com. Now, Troy's been a newspaper columnist, blogger, podcaster, TV and radio talk show host. So, I mean, he's done it just about everything, and he does have that voice for talking, right? Like, I don't have that kind of voice, so I don't have that kind of brain. But anyway, Troy does. So you know what? I thought I'm going to bring my buddy up here, let you all get to know Troy, and hopefully you guys will go visit his YouTube channel. And I think you're going to have a real good time with Troy because he's really good in what he does. And he better be. Isn't that right, Troy? So, and later on, I want to introduce, talk a little bit down the line about a special friend of mine, a special guest that you're not seeing right now. And his name is Slime. That's all I'm going to say. All right, Troy, let's take it away. So,
sure.
Troy, when and how did you get started in fountain pens?
Well, this goes back for me probably to the 1990s. I went to go work for a radio station probably just half a mile from where I'm sitting. I worked my way through high school and in college in radio. And as such, I got to work at two different radio stations with a guy who became one of my best friends. And he was a fountain pen guy, and he had one pen. He always used that one fountain pen on the job. So he let me use it. And I went to go work at this station in 96. So it would be between 96 and 98 that I used my fountain pen for the first time. Matter of fact, it's one of these right here. It's a Waterman Phileas. At the time it was like $40. Well, he had one in green. He let me use it, let me write with it. And I said, that's all right. I kind of like that. So I didn't immediately buy one of these. Actually, in the drawers behind me is probably the first pen I ever bought, which was a no-name, plain green cartridge pen. And it was okay, but I thought, I like the one he's got. So I found this at a Michael's, craft store walking around one day.
Really? You found that at Michael's?
At a Michael's craft store.
Wow.
And it was over in some section that had some pens and stuff. So I was like, all right, for $40. At the time, I was dirt poor, but $40 was a lot of money to me, but it was still a good bargain for a pen, a bottle of ink, knew nothing about it. So I went through my first couple of cartridges and then I had a bottle of Waterman's ink, ran through it. And that was my only fountain pen I used for about 20 years. I'd use it, run out of ink. I was too lazy to refill it, just chuck it in my drawer. Later on, I go, I hadn't written with it for a while, pull it out, ink it up again. And it ate any ink that I put into it. I ran out of ink. So for a couple bucks, I ordered a bottle of cheap garbage Hero brand ink from China. Ate it just fine. Other pens don't like it, but this one liked it just fine. So I wrote with that pen for, like I said, about 20 years. And we actually ran across, when my wife and I were dating, I used to, when you're romancing a woman, you send her a card once in a while, So she one day was going through some old stuff, pulled out a card, and she even saw where I had written on it, I don't think my fountain pen likes this card very well because fountain pens don't write on every kind of cardstock or so they're great, but not on every kind of material. So she even saw that after I was in the pen hobby and doing this, she said, look what you wrote right here, way back when. I said, yeah, been using them that long. So that was 1996 or so is when I bought my first two, stuck with that one Waterman, and the other green one ended up in a box. And 20 years later, I found it in the box, cleaned it up, got it writing again. So that's still functioning, but that Waterman Filius has been serving me since then. And then one day I just went, I like this pen. I wonder what else is out there. I made the mistake of asking, I wonder what else is out there.
There it is.
So I got it on eBay and I found a Jinhao 450, ordered it, wrote with it. I said, yeah, that's not so bad. I wonder what else is out there. You keep asking that stupid question, you're going to find some answers to it. And the next thing you know, you're spending thousands on pens.
And you have done that. Yes, yes, yes. So let me ask you this. After you got started, did you feel that you made really the right decision? Because, it takes time and it takes money.
Well, definitely wasn't a wrong decision. I was a collector of, for me, an expensive hobby, vintage firearms. So I was already collecting World War II rifles from, the French, Russian, American, Austrian. So I was already collecting expensive stuff and enjoying using them, went shooting all the time, spent a lot of money on ammunition, range time, you name it. Then I met Sharon. And I put all that on the back burner. So I had no more hobbies. I basically had no more life. So then I started doing the pen thing because I was using the pen all the time. I mean, first of all, I'm not totally young where everything is digital. I actually take notes. I use notepads, notebooks all the time for work and just general life, checkbook, all that happy stuff. So I'm always going to need pens. Have I gone where I said, yeah, I probably shouldn't have bought that pen? Yeah, sometimes. And have I gone where I can't believe I spent that much on a pen? Yeah, I've done that too. I'm sure pretty much everybody who makes this their hobby has gone, yeah, I spent a little more than I wanted to and probably shouldn't have gone quite that far. But I don't regret it at all, though. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, just today, it's like Christmas every time I get pen mail.
Yes, yes, yes. That's how I feel. Oh, look at that lovely.
I got this just today. A beautiful jade flat top Schaefer from 1928.
Beautiful.
Showed up in my mailbox that I purchased. We wanted one for a long time of a jade celluloid. So today was Christmas for me this morning.
I love Christmas every day. Yep. So tell me this, how long have you been reviewing fountain pens?
It's over 3 years. I haven't looked back to see when I first started, but it was before I think we went to the pen show in DC in 2017. So maybe close to 4 years I've been doing it just as a hobby. And you know who really got me started thinking, I can do this? It was you.
Me? Wow.
It was. And understand what I'm saying when I say this. I was doing a lot of research on pens. I'd look, what are some of the best pens to invest at when I'm starting out? So I found some other people that were out there and I looked at their top 10 lists. It gave me some great ideas to invest in. And I was looking at all these different videos from these guys who've been doing it for a long time, had, huge numbers of followers. And then I ran across this one rednecky guy in Texas. I was watching this video and I said, I haven't done radio. I haven't done television. I haven't done podcasting in a long time, or I was missing it. I said, you know what? If that guy can do it, I bet you I can do it. So one of the things I was missing, though, nobody else was really doing or meeting me where I was at when I first started out. I was looking for information of just getting started, what to look at, wanted to grow and to learn and get advice for a newbie. I saw guys out there that were reviewing pens that were $700-800, a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to know what I could invest in and what to look forward, paper, inks, sources. And I knew nothing about vintage. So all I knew about fountain pens for vintage pens was the Three Stooges used a lever filler to squirt somebody in the eye through a keyhole in one of their shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I knew about it. And so I got a lever filler and oh man, it's entirely crusted up. I can't use this. Pen's useless to me. So I did research and found out how to change an ink sac. And then I learned and I learned and I learned. So I figured I want to help other people so that they can find information like I did along the way. So if you look at my early videos, I was a totally ignorant fool. And I learned as I went along, which was the purpose of my channel. Because I wanted to be able to bring, and so people can watch, learn, and grow, and where I kind of did the same thing, grew in my knowledge and grew in the pen collecting, and I wanted to be able to turn around and give that to other people.
Cool.
So it's been about a 4-year journey so far.
So now here's one that I ask you, and I can't wait to hear your answer. Do you ever get distractors, or do you ever get people that like to criticize you when you do reviews, leave rude comments or know-it-alls? You know what I'm talking about, those kind.
All the time. Yeah, all the time. And I'm not alone. One of the things I found out, Larry, because you were talking earlier, I've done podcasting. I was a newspaper columnist. I did radio, had a TV talk show, did a lot of talk radio. I learned real quick, especially when I used to be a newspaper columnist. If you stick your head above the crowd, prepare to have some tomatoes thrown at you. It's just the way it is. And in doing this, I've had a lot of people throw tomatoes, and usually it's people who are self-proclaimed experts. Sometimes they are, sometimes not, who think that they know more or have better advice, or they've received better advice. And they think that there's only one way of doing something. Here's a good example. I did a video on how to change an ink sac on a vintage pen. Uh-huh. I developed my own way of doing it. I've taken classes from people who do it professionally, and when at a pen show, and same with nib smoothing. I learned from people who do it professionally. Plus, I looked at their stuff online. And then I developed a technique that works for me. And in my video, I even say, I'm not a professional, but this is what I found from tools that I have available to me that you can get to, that you don't have to be a professional to do it. This is what I do. And it works. And it works every single time. It works well. And I got people to this day. I just got one the other day that was criticizing. Oh, I cringed when I saw it. But the guy said this was, I finally, for the first time ever, restored this vintage Schaefer that my father had. And I was cringing watching your video and tried to give me all this advice. I'm like, dude, you've done it one time in your life and you're an expert and you're going to criticize what I've been doing dozens and dozens and dozens of times that I know works. It works for me. I get people who, trim your fingernails, or you need better lighting, or your camera, you're too close to the camera when you're showing the pen in front of the camera. You don't like it, get your own channel. You think you can do better? Go for it.
I mean, Larry, you have poor lighting. Why don't you get better lighting? Or your camera sucks. Why don't you get a better camera, or this or that or that or this? And I said, you know what? I will. Why don't you send me the money and I'll buy it? Or why don't you just get your own channel and do your own thing? Wouldn't that be cool? That's...
Yeah. I'm not a professional. Look, let's look at some of the top names that are out there, like SBRE Brown, Stephen Brown. Nice guy. I've met him. I like him. I followed him for years. He doesn't have the best lighting and the best camera out there, but he has a lot of followers because he often includes material that's beneficial to some people. And people follow him because of his knowledge and his material.
Yeah, yeah.
And they like his demeanor.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect. This is YouTube. I'm not putting on something on NBC. This isn't going on broadcast TV or cable or HBO Max. This is my YouTube channel as a hobby. I don't know about you, Larry, but I put ads on my channel just because I figured I'll get a couple $100 out of it and I'll dump it right back in. And I've always dumped the money right back in to buy new software, maybe upgrade a few things. And I make itty bitty amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm not. This isn't a business for me.
Quick, there's another reviewer on there that started doing the those commercials or whatever they put in there, and then it comes back on. And at one time, people were saying, "Well, why don't you do that, Larry? You can make a whole lot of money on it." And I said, "Really? You don't make that kind of money on it. Make just a little bit of money on it." I tell them, people think you make hundreds and thousands of dollars doing this. So that doesn't happen.
If you get millions of views, sure, but this is a niche.
Let's face it. The big reviewers out there. These big reviewers. The advantage that they have over, let's say, you and myself is that they have these sponsors that send them all these stuff. I mean, they get all this nice, expensive pens, you name it. We don't have that luxury. Okay, a lot of times we don't. At least I don't.
No, everything you see that I put on my channel is something either, and I think only 2 pens someone has lent me. Someone has sent me a pen pal of mine, let me borrow a couple of his pens. My last video that I did that has Godzilla in it. That one there, the King of Pen, that was on loan. But other than that, everything that you see, I sunk my own money into it. I paid for the camcorder out of my pocket. I paid for the lighting. I just sunk a ton of money into this brand new MacBook I'm sitting on talking to you right now because my Dell was just way too slow for video production.
Yeah.
And I don't need a fast computer for everything else I do, but for video production, I need a little bit better than I was getting. I hated the verbiage that was coming out of my mouth talking at the computer about how horrible and slow it was. So I said, that's it. So I've sunk way more money into this than I would ever make.
I know that Mr. Announcer has spent a lot of money on camcorders,
lights, software,
laptops, you name it, so we can get this done. So it takes a little bit of money to do this. I mean, it's just not $20, $30, but I have a lot of fun doing it. I really do. So, when I was, watching your videos, I said, well, dang, man, Troy's got the voice. Troy's got the magic. Why is his subscribers so low? I'm saying, what is Troy and Larry, the Pitbull guy, doing wrong that other people are doing right? They're getting 50,000, 60,000. And we're right, look at here, Troy, we're right down here and they're right up there.
Well, there are a couple, there's a lot of behind the scenes as to why that's the case. I mean, I don't know if I want to dive into it, but I can tell you a lot of it has to do with the YouTube algorithm. Put it this way. I didn't always use my channel for pen review stuff. Back when I was doing radio and TV, and I used it as a place to put all my 5-minute television commentaries. And so I had a couple hundred videos that were a 5-minute political commentary.
Okay.
If your politics have a certain bent to them, YouTube doesn't like that, and they will try to bury. And the only reason I used it was because not everybody was within the broadcast range of this TV station that asked me to do commentaries. So I had family and friends that were in other parts of the state and the country that wanted to be able to see it. All right, I just threw on my YouTube channel. And they sat there for years. Well, some of that's suppression to keep that channel down so that they don't get a lot of views, because YouTube's has a very specific political bent and agenda. Well, it's the same channel though. So, I've been flagged in that group, and that's part of it. We saw a huge uptick, and then they changed the way YouTube did things, and then it really tapered off for a while too. So at one point we had great growth, tapered off. Okay, a little more growth, and a lot of it has to do, I'm sure, with the way they do things, with the algorithm that they set up and their company policies. Okay, fine. It still doesn't cost me to use the service. So I'm not going to complain too much. It's their service. They can do what they want with it.
So here's one for you. Do you feel that viewers tend to pass over smaller viewers in favor of those with large subscriptions that have more viewers, subscribers?
Viewers can't go see somebody they don't know about. So if you're not going to come up in the search results, or if people don't really know about you so much, yeah, obviously they're going to go to the bigger ones who get the bigger promotion. And, quite frankly, Google's going to make more money off of sending people to those channels. And that's understood. And you got names who have come up always when you do searches and in the fountain pen community that are very well known. So word of mouth, reference, sharing, social media, those are ones that are always going to come up. They're also, usually very formulaic. And I'm not going to speak negative of anybody else out there as far as what they put on their channel and how they do things.
Yeah.
I'm not them. They're not me. I don't want to be their channel. And there's some guys who've come up from zero, skyrocketed up, and they've got some pretty good flashy content. They've got some really good material. I watched one just the other day that I was like, that was a pretty good video. It was only 7 minutes. It probably would have taken me 17 to do the same review, because I would have done it differently.
Yeah. Right.
Because what he did, that's not me.
Right. People tell me that they didn't even know I existed. They accidentally have stumbled over my channel. So, and we have done everything that YouTube has provided us to do. And then we've had help from other folks that do this. And it's still, I'm still kind of like, eh. But anyway, I guess that's what it is. But I'm still here, and I'm going to be here until I die. And then I'm not here. So, blah. Right.
Yeah, I got to be me. I'm gonna be true to me and be conversational, be a little more laid back about things. There's some people who do their videos and they read a script, and that's fine. I don't say that's good or bad, and that's them.
Yeah.
Because maybe their personality is where they've got to follow a script. Maybe they're not good at winging things. Maybe that's just their mindset, and they want to have a set formula as to how they do things, and that works for them. That's great. And they get a lot of viewers because of it. That's just not me.
People, at one time, I was doing the short videos, 6-7 minutes, less than 10 minutes. People will say, that's too short, Larry. You need to increase them. That's when I first started. So we increased them. Then comments come in, Larry, your videos are too long. And then it just started, it's this, or it's that, or it's this. You know what? I finally told myself, you can't please everyone. You got to please yourself and just put it out there the way you want it.
Right. Everybody's a critic. If you haven't figured that out yet, everybody's a critic. And that's fine. I've got no problem with everybody having an opinion. I've got opinions too. I just don't always air them to everybody or feel the need to comment. I'm sure I've had people who I irritated that don't like my style, that don't like the material, or think you focus too much on vintage pens.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the more modern pens you have are not what I'm really looking for. They're not the latest and greatest, or you came out with this long after we already saw reviews on this same pen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I've got a video that I'm going to be working on an Esterbrook Esty.
Yeah.
I finally broke down and bought one.
Yeah.
These came out quite some time ago.
Great pen, I think. Anyway, I did a review on it. Love it.
Right. Yeah. I held off on buying one for a reason. I looked at it, I was like, I don't know if I want to. Not for that price. And I said, that's a lot of money. And I want the oversized.
Yeah.
Not only do I want the oversized, I want the little vintage nib adapter.
Yeah.
That's an extra $40.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get that. Yeah. Yeah.
But, I did, and it's one of those, I don't know if I want to jump on the bandwagon. And then eventually, all right, you know what? I've got a little bit of extra money that I can deal with. Let's just go ahead and pull the trigger and get one.
And End of story. It was there. There you are.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So, what's a good one here? Okay. How do you respond if people get negative in the comments? How do you handle that?
It really depends on how they come off. You know, this is going to sound a little odd to some people. There is no First Amendment here. First, there's definitely no First Amendment with Google or YouTube because they do have suppression at times where they will edit stuff or they will monitor and suppress some things. So there's no First Amendment on that platform. But next, it's my channel. If someone is extremely obnoxious, if someone is just plain wrong and giving misleading information even, or erroneous info, there's a little delete comment button. And yeah. I've been known to exercise it. Why? It's my channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I had, when I was blogging heavily, I did the same thing. All the newspaper columns, for instance, that I wrote for 6.5 years for a local newspaper, they're still out there on the internet. All right. And I've got a blog that's out there, and actually through my website, it's still out there that people can go look at them. And I used to get some hate mail. That's fine. I don't mind if you disagree. Just don't be disagreeable necessarily. Yeah, I've had people who started a campaign trying to get me fired as a newspaper columnist because they didn't like what I had said. Okay. And I actually had one advertiser who said, if you publish another one of his columns, we're going to pull all of our advertising. And which is why I got fired from doing it. So it is what it is. But sometimes I'll just leave them alone. Sometimes I don't answer the question, or I don't answer or respond to the commentary. Sometimes I've gone where I've said, you know, that's a great thing about this hobby. The cool thing about the hobby is there are so many different preferences and so many things out there to meet everybody's individual likes and dislikes. You know, the TWSBI Go is a good example. I don't like the TWSBI Go. I thought it was a horrendous pen when it came out. And a lot of people were critical of my opinion of it. Okay, fine. You know, that's the great thing about the hobby. You like it? I don't. There are plenty of pens out there that suit me, that don't suit others. Plenty of different style pens. I don't like fine nibs. Some people talk about how they love fine and extra fine nibs. Can't understand why I don't. So that's your taste, not mine.
Right.
So I don't criticize your taste in liking fine nibs. Why are you criticizing me because I like medium nibs? Then there's some people who just know-it-all jerks. Yeah, my Meisterstück 146 Mont Blanc pen.
Yeah,
I had a video up about it, and I got a lot of views on that. One of my higher rated videos. Well, I had somebody saying, one particular person who apparently is some expert from the other side of the planet, just looking at my video, has come to the conclusion that I have a fake pen. No. Okay, I'm glad. Okay, you think so? Great, whatever. You know, all I know is I know where I bought it from, and I know who I got it from, and I'm familiar with the pen. Yeah.
Wow. You know, I've had some comments, pretty bad ones. You know, they cuss words. I mean, bad ones that I have to delete and block the people. Sometimes it's that bad. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sometimes there's sexual comments. Huh? I'm talking about fountain pens. You know, no, I don't want to date you. Stuff like that. You know, just garbage, just pure garbage. So yeah, I delete it and block them. So, but you're going to get those anytime, all the time, whenever, here and there. So that's just people. That's kind of where we live in today.
I stopped and tried to figure out why they would think the way they do. Sometimes and sometimes I've asked, am I wrong? You know, when I've got some harshly critical stuff, especially early on, I could understand that I got some facts wrong. If I got a fact wrong, fine. Tell me what the fact is. There's been times I've done research, and the research I've got points to this.
Right.
And I can show you 4 different websites that say exactly what I just said, but someone else says, that's not right. That's so inaccurate. Dude, whatever. I'm just telling you, from, like I said in the video, from all my research, and even put up screenshots of the website, when I'm doing a video, and they'll argue those facts. Okay. John Adams said facts are stubborn things. And if you've got a different source than I've got, great, share it. But just don't be a jerk about it. So
that's going to always happen, though, my man. So here's one for you about the family. How did you get your family involved in fountain pens?
Well, they saw what I was doing, spending time with and spending money on, and they were interested in what I was doing. And my mother-in-law was living with us at the time when I first started getting them. And so here I was, I picked up a few pens and I just bought a few extras and made them stocking stuffers for Christmas. And they were, very inexpensive Chinese imports, Ahows or Jinhao or Hero, stuff like that. And so they said, oh, I kind of like this. Okay, fine. So Sharon got all excited and she started looking for more pens and put them in her Amazon wish list and would start doing research on things that she wanted. Matthew, when I gave him a Jinhao 599, was his first fountain pen, a red one. And he wrote with it all the time, doing homework, 2nd grade.
Cool.
He sat there doing his homework in Noodler's Cactus Green ink with a Jinhao 599. And so he just got really interested in doing it that way. My youngest, he's now 8, about to turn 9 in just a couple of weeks. He was a little too young at first because when I gave him a pen to play with, he wanted to be just like his big brother, just like Mama. And he was probably too young to play with him at the time. But I've since, as he got a little older, got him like a Waterman Graduate. Where he kind of moved up to a nicer pen, not tremendously expensive, but not on the low end, either. My mother-in-law liked the pens that my wife was using and that I've been buying her. My wife kind of liked the Chinese pens, but then she kind of liked the Mont Blanc that I bought her. She kind of liked the Visconti that I got her. She liked the Waterman Karen that I got her. She liked the Jim Hines pens that I've been buying her.
Yeah.
So, her taste and the quality that she's liked has gone a little up. It used to be if it's glitzy and pretty, I said earlier, there are pens to fit every single taste out there.
Yeah.
If it was pink, if it was purple, if it was sparkly, she wanted it.
That was it. I want that pen, honey. Give me that pen.
Me? Look. Black with gold trim.
That's beautiful.
Very simple.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it's not ebonite, but it's an ebony, it's just a nice shiny black. So simple yet elegant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does me just fine. That appeals to me.
Yeah.
So there's something for everybody. And so when Sharon saw that everything, and when I started to be able to put in pink inks, ooh,
that's even better. Yeah. That's even better.
I got a friend who I just sent a pen that I'd seen. I met her. We hadn't seen her since high school. She was driving up and down the interstate and knew that I lived right off the interstate. And so she stopped and we met at a coffee shop. So I sent her a pen after she found out that I was doing the pen thing and found out that I could put a teal, you got, that's my favorite color. Good. Teal ink in it. Send it off to her. There you go. Kind of thing. But yeah, all my family, my oldest boy didn't really care. Youngest, not tremendously into it, but my mother-in-law for a while, when I was taking care of it, she was living here and actually having me take care of all of her pens. She was all excited about it. Not quite as much now because she doesn't know how to fill her own, doesn't want to. So she just sets them aside. Probably get a box full of dried up old pens that no one's contained. But I keep up with Sharon's collection. I do all the cleaning for her. I do it for Matthew. I help keep his collection cleaned or inked and that kind of thing. So, we're sitting amongst way too many pens.
Okay, so you've kind of answered this question, but let's go over it one more time. Who are the family members, which you've answered, that are actually using the fountain pens now, currently, and do you have to teach them how to use fountain pens?
Well, yeah, everybody has to be taught the proper way to use one. And so I've taught Matthew when he first started writing. Here's the downside with Matthew is that, especially now with the whole pandemic thing and every bit of school is being done on a computer, they don't write anything anymore. They don't do homework. They don't keep a journal. They don't have to write their work, show their work in a notebook. They don't creative write anymore. They don't have anything with penmanship like they did when we were growing up. I guarantee you spent a good amount of time writing and doing penmanship and writing out the quick brown fonts over and over
back there
and learning
penmanship. Yeah.
Yes, we did. I'm old enough that, I went to school. I was born in 68. So, in the 70s and early 80s, we wrote everything. Elementary school in the 70s. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We had to learn how to print. Then we had to learn how to write. Yeah. And we had books on penmanship and we had penmanship drills. So we always had stuff like that. My kids, they write with hand scratch. And as much as I've tried to want to teach them, spend some time with them, they kick against it. Because if it's not on a computer tablet or on a laptop, they're fussy about it. They don't want to have to do the analog world. And unfortunately, Matthew, who had an interest in it, doesn't write anywhere near what he should or could, because everything he does at school is all electronic now. And it's a sad thing to see. He's never had to handwrite much of anything at school. So he doesn't do it anywhere near as much that he has gotten into a little higher grade, and especially with the whole pandemic thing. Yeah.
Back when I was working at the time and have to hire people, they bring in their applications, and I noticed on their applications, everything was printed, right? So I would give them something in writing, and there were questions in writing that I was asking them, and they would be looking at it and looking at them and ask, is anything wrong with the question? No, sir, it's not, but I wasn't taught how to read anything in handwriting. What? Just printing.
Right.
That blew me away. Wow. I didn't know that.
I know. It's yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's purposeful. You can't read the founding documents that were handwritten.
Wow. I couldn't believe it, but it's true. It's what's happening, I guess. Well, all right, let's move on to, are you glad that you got into fountain pen reviews, or do you regret doing it? Any regrets?
Well, regrets, I'd say no. I wish I had the knowledge and the foresight to have started out a little higher end with the video equipment. But where I sit right now, Larry, right behind me, I work from home for a living.
Right.
All right. So for my employer, I've been there 26 and a half years, and the majority of which has been right here in this room.
Wow.
And this is where I'm sitting right now is the same seat and the same desk that I use and have I've been in this house almost 20 years.
Wow.
This is where I earn my living. So this is a working office for me. So I don't always have the real estate, and I don't have the place set up where I've got a house for a full family. Don't always have a quiet place. Matter of fact, my kids have been in and out of this room just since I've been sitting here talking to you. And a couple of them, you couldn't see them, but they were standing right off here to my right. And all curious, my slime dog kept walking through my office. And so my kids and my wife have been in here letting him in and out, because the back door is going to come through my office to get to the backyard kind of thing. So it's a busy place. So I don't have any regrets. And one of the things I always learn as I'm playing with them. As I play with my pens, I learn about them, and I like the idea of having more knowledge about the stuff that I've got. So when I do a little more research, I do a little background on Parkers when I'm working with an old Parker.
Yeah.
So I get to learn more. I have an appreciation for history. And if I go back to school and finish my next degree will probably be in history. And who knows, when I get done with this job, I may retire and become a school teacher and teach history to high school or something. I don't know. Yeah, so I don't really have any regrets. When I first started, the purpose, like I told you a little earlier, was to show my progression and to start with a journey. And if you follow along with me, you'll see where that journey has changed and where it's brought me to. So you're going to see a progression in the cost of pens, the variety of pens, new pens, old pens, and the complexity of some of them. But along with that, the complexity of the knowledge that you have to have in order to restore them or to use them or to present them, rather than just copying and pasting off from some distributor's website kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you deal with the negative that comes along with it. Sometimes you deal with the frustrations of, look, I know what I put out is far better than like the 6 other videos I've seen on the exact same thing that other people have put out. So why do they have like 20 times more views than I do?
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. But I can't be bitter about that. Despise not small beginnings. So,
yeah. So here's one. What do you like most about reviewing fountain pens?
What I like most about it is when I can share some knowledge that I've acquired and it helps somebody else. I get a lot of feedback from people who said, I've been looking for information on this and I hadn't been able to find it anywhere, and you had it on your channel. Thank you for sharing it. I didn't know what pen I had. Thank you for sharing it. Or I didn't know how to do this with a pen. Thank you for sharing it. Or I get people hit me up all the time on the sly. And I guess it's because I'm responsive to most of my social media, and they ask me all kinds of questions.
Okay.
And I'm willing to give answers within reason. I'm not going to be, on retainer all the time, but I'll help out as much as I can. And I've answered a lot of questions. So I've gotten the chance to meet a lot of people, even if just on the virtual world. I've actually met some people in person, whether it be down in Texas or at pen shows, where I've actually made friendships out of it. I've made pen pals out of it. I've got one pen pal that I know that you've been in contact with, who he and I worked for the same company. And I was doing a video one day on a cross pen. And one of the things I shared was cross was often used by corporations to put their company logo on their pen as an employee gift.
Yeah.
And so I actually shared one of my pens that had the company logo on it. So one day I get after I did that video, I got an instant message to the corporate system. Hey, are you the same Troy who does these YouTube videos? Oh, yeah. So he said, hey, I'm so-and-so, and I think you follow me on Instagram. I've been following your channel. Oh, yeah, okay, cool. And come to find out, I know that he has been a pen pal of yours as well. So, he and I have kept touch, and, he's sent me pens that I got to use and practice with and play with, and I'm doing the same with him. So we've exchanged pens, we exchanged letters, and so he's one of my 3 steady pen pals that I've got right now.
Cool.
So that's what I like about it, Larry, is I get the chance to not only meet people, but also if I've helped somebody. Because when I first got started, I really didn't have anybody to help me. And that's why I started the channel. Yeah. Because I wanted to help other people get past some of the frustrations that I had trying to learn.
And that's my point. I like to get across to people. I want to help people the best I can. People getting started. they're unfamiliar with this or that, and how do you do this and do that? And I always get a lot of questions about it, and I don't mind answering them. You know, sometimes I don't answer as fast as I should because, you know, my health's not all up to par. So it takes me a little bit of time to get to it, but I do get to it, you know. So, all right. So then, let's see. What was your first, here's a good one. What was your first job, and what is your current job now? First job and current job now.
Very first job I ever had, I was 15 years old. I went to go work for the U.S. Department of the Interior, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, Division of Fisheries Assistance. And I worked with a bunch of other teenagers during the summer, surveying the Sauhegan River for salmon spawning habitat for a summer. So that was the very first job I ever did.
Wow. Okay.
And that was minimum wage, $3.35 an hour at the time. After that, I went to go work for a small department store. And I worked that for about seven months or so. Not to give my whole employment history, but I had a few, and then I eventually ended up after that working in radio. And so I worked my way through the rest of my high school time and in college working at a radio station, and then a few more radio stations later on, which kind of actually helped me get this job that I've got now. When I found myself unemployed or underemployed, I was looking for a job, and there was a cable company, a cable advertising company that was looking for a part-time video editor for their automation systems. So, okay, well, why not? You know, it's a half-time job, and I need more income. So I applied, and it turns out it was very relatable to what I was doing in radio, working at an automated station, at the radio station I was at. Same concept, you just add video to it. Okay, great. Plus, it turns out I kind of knew the guy who was going to be my boss because we lived in the same apartment complex at one time. So he knew who I was. So I've been with that job 26 and a half years now, and I'm an engineer for a very large cable company in their advertising department. And I install, maintain, and troubleshoot automation systems for cable advertising.